I think I'm live. Okay, so welcome, welcome, welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping or sell wholesaling houses, or if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. So I got a question. I get this question a lot, and it's about location, right? So somebody said, what are the hot spots to invest in? People are looking for shortcuts people are always looking for shortcuts because they figure if I pick the best area, then I will have an easier time wholesaling, right? That's the basic gist of what people think, and I completely understand. So I'm going to tell you that it's not that simple, right? Even if I really knew the hottest areas to wholesale in, and I told them to you, it could change by the time you got working, right? So the big myth out there is that it's so simple to do this that you're going to start marketing and you're going to do a deal in a week, and it's probably not going to take. It's probably going to take a lot longer than that, right? Even in the hot areas, it's still going to take a couple of months, and in a couple of months, things can change, right? We're going through a very interesting situation with a national real estate market. The East Coast, particularly Florida and the Southeast, has really been still on its way up. My area in New York has been pretty good, whereas a lot of parts of the West Coast are getting slammed. So Idaho, Arizona, Nevada, most of California getting hit. These things change, right? And it completely changed since the end of last summer. So when you are looking for an area to wholesale in, it says the keyframe rate is too low, which usually means it's not working. I don't know. Okay. So I would tell you too low frames per second also. I don't know if this is even working. It's working off my hotspot because the stupid Wi-Fi in the hotel is not working. But here's what I'm going to tell you. If you're looking for an area to wholesale in, there are two things you should keep in mind. One is to work in places you know, right? An area you grew up in, an area you lived in, where you will know things about that area. That gives you an advantage. And so that's the first thing. An area you know is good. Oh, thank you, Mohsen. Thank you for telling me. Right? That's number one. The second thing is the lower priced areas in that area are always going to be better. So for the first 4 years, really from 2013 to 2017, I was a big moron, right? I wouldn't wholesale in the areas that I considered worse. So I didn't wholesale in Roosevelt. I didn't wholesale in Baldwin. I didn't wholesale anywhere. I was flipping, but I wasn't buying properties in areas because I had heard horror stories about staying away from the ghetto. The truth is, those areas were not ghetto. Those areas were fine, and I would have made a lot more money if I wouldn't have limited myself to those areas at all. So, in general, you're going to have a much easier time buying properties at a discount from places where the prices are lower. So, obviously, there are a lot of places in New York where they're not that low, but the lowest priced places, right? So the areas in New York where things are going to sell for $400,000 or $500,000 is going to be an easier time to buy properties at a discount than the places where it's going to be $800,000 to $1 million. And the reason is very simple, right? It's simple math. And if you have a house that's going to be worth $300,000, and you know it's a piece of crap, so you think you're going to ask for $250,000, and then somebody comes and does a simple math that it needs $50,000 worth of work, and I'm going to buy it at 70% of the ARV, the after repaired value minus repairs. So 70% of the ARV on a $300,000 price is $210 minus 50 is going to be $160, let's say. So if you knew your house was, let's say, not great, your house needs a lot of work, and you therefore knew you're going to get in the twos, you thought you're going to get about $200,000, and somebody comes at $160, it's a little bit. It's not great, right? And most sellers say no right away, but at least it's doable. But if you're in $1 million area and you got to buy that at $700,000 minus $200,000 repairs, you got to offer them $500,000. It's a much more difficult psychological sell. It's a big chunk that you're just taking out of it. So I think it's important to understand that all of what we do, getting sellers to sell us at discounts, works better in lower priced areas. Also, I don't want to sound racist or in any way, but the truth is that people in lower priced areas are usually less sophisticated than people in higher priced areas, right? And maybe didn't do the math to figure out what their house is worth, and maybe are just have some kind of terrible problem that you can solve. Now, of course, in higher priced areas that happens too, right? And I have friends who who go direct to seller in like the Bay Area and the San Francisco area, and they get very few deals, but they could make $400,000 or $500,000 on a deal. And you may want to do that too, but understand that deals are few and far between. They've been doing it for years. And I have friends who do this in Ohio, like Dayton and Columbus. I have a million people do it there, and they'll make $10,000 on a deal, but they'll get a lot of deals. So if you're interested in getting deals, Ohio's a great place to go. But in general, the standard hotspots of Dallas, Phoenix, Las Vegas, those are all areas where you can find low-priced homes and you can get deals done. If you want to virtually wholesale there, it's fine, especially if you know one of those areas. That's even better. But there is no magic place, right? People think that there's some kind of magic zip code list, right? People have been told, well, if I search where cash buyers are buying, any place that's a decent amount of population, I mean, at least $100,000 people or more, there's going to be people who are going to want to fix and flip there or buy and hold there for sure, right? You want to stay away, and people call me all the time with deals that are really in the middle of nowhere. I'm talking about nothing for 6 miles, and those are difficult deals to find buyers for. Now, if you want to actually close on it, do the work to it, and sell it, it can work. But you've got to understand that places that are extremely rural or places where they have populations, that are really low, right? Right now I'm in Ardmore, Oklahoma. The population is 25,000. Seems like a nice place, but it's harder to find a buyer who wants to fix and flip here. I'm sure it's harder. Now, using those two metrics that I told you about to figure out a place, going with places not necessarily that, and going with places that are lower priced areas, I think that should be enough of a guide, right? Someone asked me recently, and I'll address this question now. Should you virtually wholesale in New York? Now, I don't know if he meant if I live someplace else, should I wholesale in New York virtually? Or if he meant if I'm in New York, should I virtually wholesale another area? You can do it. And I know people from New York who moved eventually and still wholesale virtually in New York where they really don't go see the property and they don't have anybody on the ground. They do everything by phone. It works. I'm not saying it doesn't work. It's just that New York has its own challenges. We've gone through a lot of them, right? It's the only state where real estate works the way it does. It's the only state where a seller is almost always going to be represented by an attorney. It's the only state where the standard EMD, the earnest money deposit, is going to be 10% of the purchase price, and you're going to have to negotiate that down. It's the only state where standard contract says it's not assignable. It's the only state like that, right? So it brings its own challenges. Now, there's pros and cons to the fact that it has those challenges. The pro is that there's very little competition. The pro is that there's a lot of profit in it, right? I average over $35,000 per wholesale deal. You don't get that in a lot of the places I mentioned before. The cons are that you got to deal with that. Once in a while, an attorney will kill a deal. Once in a while, an attorney, will jerk you around and refuse to make it assignable. But I've done videos on how to get around that. I've learned my lesson because I lost deals over that, and that was stupid because there are ways around it. So if I lived in Kansas, I wouldn't virtually wholesale deals in New York. But if I'm in New York, I might want to virtually wholesale deals that are in Kansas. So the place you operate, like I said, it's better to be lower priced and it's better to be someplace you understand. Doesn't mean you need to know it, and it doesn't mean you can't go in higher priced areas. But those are the guidelines I would work on. Right? But there is no magic list. If I gave you a list of places that are super hot, I told you Ohio's hot. Hot. Ohio's not hot. There's a billion people that are clamoring for the same deals there. But it's easier to get deals done there. So there is no magic list of zip codes, right? That people think there is that'll make it easier. You need to think about what you want to do, and wherever it is, you can make money everywhere. Like I told you, I know guys making millions of dollars a year in the Bay Area. I would never think to work there ever, right? There are people who made it work in Los Angeles. There are people who made it work anywhere. So I would say every place has its pros and cons. You need to pick an area. You need to get a list for that area. You need to skip trace that list and market to that list. That's what you need to do. And you need to think in terms, even in the quicker areas of like, I'm going to do this for 6 months before I even reevaluate whether I'm going to not do it anymore. This is not a quick hit. This is a very simple business, but it is not an easy business. If you think it's easy, you're in the wrong business. So I hope this was helpful. If you're interested in all the ways I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com or learntoflipandwholesale.com. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on any media channel, please click the thumbs up. The likes really help the algorithm. A lot more people will see my videos. And what else? Oh, and please keep the comments coming. I post 5 times a week. I very rarely know what the hell I'm supposed to talk about. So I always like to answer your questions. The whole purpose of this channel is for me to answer your questions. So you can ask anything. It doesn't have to be about the video you're watching. And if it's a simple answer, I'll just reply with an answer. If it's something I've covered recently, I'll send you a link to a video. And if it's something I haven't covered recently or haven't covered in a long time, I will be happy to do a brand new video on it. So thank you very, very much for watching.